Well, I'm excited to share with you a new tool that we have called our Agriculture Insights Report. So this report is available for all states, and you are taking a look at one of the reports here specifically for Alabama, and I'm going to share with you how you can find it online. So if you go online and you go to our website, you scroll down and you go to Recruiter Resources, click on there. One of the third or fourth things listed under Agriculture Resource List is the Agriculture Insights Reports for states. So every state has one of these, and you can check it out right here, and you can click on and find your state. So we're going to focus on the one for Alabama. And the way that it works, there are 13 different pages of information that are all designed to really help you understand what's going on in your particular state. So this first little section over here talks about the agriculture counties that produce the most sales. And so DeKalb is being number 1, Coleman number 2, Marshall number 3, Coffee number 4, Baldwin down here rounding it out at 25. But there's a bunch of counties. So you may be Mobile County, which is number 27, and Monroe County, which is 48. And maybe you're thinking like, what reference does that have? So if I have multiple areas, I'm going to check out and see how much agriculture sales are in each county. Because the more sales, the more chance that there's, places, entities that are hiring workers, and the more chance of possibly finding families. So you want to kind of be able to check that out and see, maybe you have a whole bunch of families in Lawrence County, but you really don't have hardly any in Pike. But it looks like Pike is producing a little bit more agriculture sales. Now, this is not always, it's not always the case that the higher agriculture sales means more workers, but you just want to be able to really understand your data. So for example, if it's a high producing county with a crop that is very mechanized, then that's really not going to, it's not going to have as many workers. So if you look over here, it helps you know how much sales are in the state. So if I was to ask you, is Alabama more a crop sale or state or a livestock state? You could say, no, it's more livestock, because you can see 81% right there. These are the counties with the most farmland. Again, this doesn't always mean there's more migrant families. You can just start to understand your state, start to understand how this all works. So the cool thing about this tool is you can look at by any county. So anytime I change this, you'll see that the numbers change. So Baldwin County right here, interestingly enough, it has 1,300 workers, and DeKalb County, when we just looked at it, it had 1,000. So this is when it says farm workers in the county, this is the number of workers working on farms that farmers have reported in the ag census. So the ag census, everything in this first, I think like 11 pages is all based off of the ag census. And so the ag census is a survey farmers take, and it really goes into depth about their operations. And it also gives us really good insights of where families might be coming to and why, and youth also. So interestingly, there are 48 operations over here who hire farm workers, 48 that hire between 5 and 9 workers, and there are 12 that hire between 10 and up. This particular county is mainly livestock. You can see it with 94% right there. There are 2 school districts. So we're going to follow these pages from DeKalb County. So you can look in your state, you can compare and look at, oh, I wonder how many hog operations there are in DeKalb compared to Bloom, whatever it is your counties, you can look at it. But I want you to understand the flow of helping to understand this particular county, and you can do the same thing with yours. So it looks like there are 55,742 beef cows. Sometimes beef cows don't need a lot of workers. It just depends if it's a feedlot or if it's just free range cows. And so they're not super labor intensive. They can usually most of the year kind of take care of themselves. Shows here milk cows inventory, and it says 0, which means there are no dairies. In the middle, it's showing us the hog inventory of 1,464. That means there are literally 1,464 pigs in the area. And there is one hog operation. You can see over here on the poultry operations with more than 10,000 chicken layers, you can see the number. There are 28 that have over 10,000. There are 23 that have over 23,000 or 20,000. Honeybees are also included. There are 51 honeybee operations with 538 colonies. So some of you may be thinking, well, that's not that much, or why do you have honeybees? Some states, honeybees are really big. I mean, a lot of workers come in to work them. Other states, it's just, someone has a couple hives in their backyard. We include it just so you can understand in your particular area. So you can see here, there is DeKalb County with, you can look at the next thing we start looking at is their vegetables. So there are 656 acres of vegetables. Right away, we can see potatoes is 435, Pumpkins are withheld, beans are withheld, melons 167, and okra and 1. Then there's a bunch of withheld. So to explain what the withheld is, they promise that the ag census will be anonymous. And so there are several, if there are just 1 or 2 farms, then the ag census will withhold that information so that you won't know exactly whether it's large or small because they promise to be anonymous. So withheld means there are some pumpkins, there are some beans, there are all of these things here, but it might be 1 or 2 producers, and you'll have to kind of find that information. The interesting thing here, you can see on the number of operations, there are 3 operations with 100 to 249 acres, 249 acres. There are 7 operations between 5 and 24 acres. The next page, we start looking at orchards and berries, land and acres. There are 83 acres of orchards. There are less than 20 of berries, and withheld for non-citrus and tree nuts are both withheld, so both they're going to be smaller farms there. So to understand, it looks like there's 47 acres. So it's not just 47 peaches, it's 47 acres of peaches, 28 acres of grapes, 1 acre of figs, 5 acres of blueberries, 5 acres of apples, and you can kind of see so on and so forth. And there are only 9 operations that are doing this between 5 and 24 acres. The next page, we start looking at field crops. So field crops, a lot of times are mechanized and there's not a lot of workers that come in for this, but sometimes it can be really helpful to understand. Maybe cotton, for example, if you look in the list, barley's withheld, corn's going to be field corn, so that's going to be pretty mechanized. Cotton, you've got 5,288. I can always, if I want to look at this a little bit more, I can see over here. I've got barley, corn, cotton, hay. So hay, there's 36,000 acres. That could be definitely enough that they could bring in some workers. We've got oats, peanuts, sorghum, soybeans. Really, the main thing I would be interested in here is the cotton and the hay. Over here, it lets you look at the size of farms. You've got 9 farms that are over 1,000 acres, 14 between 599, 45 between 250 and 499. This is just giving you an idea of the understanding. You have 430 little tiny ones. So that just means someone's growing a little bit of soy or a little bit of, wheat. But you have 9 big producers right there. The next one we go into is greenhouse. So there's out in the open greenhouse, and then there's under protection greenhouse. There's also Christmas trees. So in this particular county, there are 77 acres of Christmas trees. There are, there are less than 20 acres of nursery, so it's not very big. And then over here, this is the square footage of what it looks like under plastic. So there's some tomatoes that are grown in the greenhouse. There are some flowering plants, some vegetable seeds. And over here, you've got cut flowers, aquatic flowers. So you can kind of see what's going on there specifically. This particular state, not everybody has this yet because we're still kind of working on this. This particular state has some aquaculture resources. In this particular county, there's not very many, but they do have some aquaculture approved establishments that you can kind of see over here. And it'll give you a little bit of information as far as exactly where those at. So these are Commerce U.S. basically processing establishments that are specifically for aquaculture. So you can see the fisheries and the seafoods right there. On the next one, we start looking at the H2A housing. Now, I'll have you note that if you click up here, you can see the actual ag portal for the state. And so every single one of our states has a portal, and you can click on and check that out. I'll show you where you can find it on our website. So on the website, if you go to our website, same thing as the other part, you're going to be able to click on here. And then you're going to look down for the, let's see, Agriculture Information Portal. So every state has one of these. We're going to hang out over here in Alabama, just here for a second. So what we start doing in the visualization tool that you guys are looking at, the Agriculture Insight Report, we start linking some of these tools that we have in this portal for you. So if you look, we have a master agriculture Google map. We have listings for that. We have those that receive subsidies. We have a farm labor's contract list. We have H2A and H2B work lists. So if you open one of these, you'll be able to see the ones that are newly added. These were just done, they're usually done pretty often, every 6 weeks or once a quarter. Any one of the yellow at the top are the newer farms, newer places that are requesting that. So you can check out these different reports. And when I go back to the Power BI, you're going to be able to see the aquaculture, for example. Here's the list, the meat and poultry, inspection, all of these have both maps, so individual maps that you can click on and be able to see, you know, the GAP audited companies, for example. These are good agricultural practices companies, and you can be able to see specifically where they're located at. You can be able to click on it and see exactly what they are, when they were audited, those kind of things. But that is all linked into the Power BI. So here you can see the housing map and the work order map. These are updated quarterly. So you actually could go to the portal and maybe find some that are not on here if it had been updated since we had updated these pages. The next page, we see the farm labor contractors and the trailer park. So there's no farm labor contractors for this particular area. If you're wondering why you would work with the farm labor contractors, these are people usually bringing in workers. And so a lot of times their workers definitely can be eligible for what we do. And so you want to reach out to them and find them and talk with them. We include the trailer parks just so you can kind of see some of those places that might be transitional housing, that might be places that families come when they're brand new to an area. The next page, we start looking at, again, tying back to the portal. It says here, good agriculture practices are voluntary audits that verify that fruits and vegetables are produced, packed, handled, and stored to minimize risk of microbial food safety hazards. So Gary Enders Farms right here, you can see they were audited for potatoes. Then we have all the meat, poultry, and inspection lists that we have, and that's under the ag portal, and you can kind of see where those are. The next one is kind of an interesting tool, which we just came up with recently so that we could help states really understand their, so maybe you know that there are greenhouses and tomatoes and you've got asparagus going on in different areas, but you're not really sure what's happening. So you can look here at different maps at different times. You can see February, March, April, and you see these things will change. So we're noticing asparagus, for example, in January, we could see that planting is done in the state of Alabama in the South. If I can just click, I can now see that harvesting is done in the South in February, packing in the South, planting in the North, and you can start clicking on these different things and see by month what's exactly happening. So if I want to follow what's happening in broccoli, I can look in March and see that they're harvesting, packing, planting, preparing. All of those things are going on. And if I look at broccoli in April, I can see that they're still planting and preparing fields, still doing planting, and then as I go through, you can see when the harvesting happens. So you can do that for any crop, and you can look on the month, you can look at what's happening, and be able to see the specific activities related to that. So cabbage, mustard cabbage, for example, in September, they're preparing the fields and they're seeding the fields at this time. So you can also see, if you click, we also have, if you want to see a full list of it, you can click down there and get the actual Excel sheet that has everything. You can be able to see that. And it'll take you, if you click on there, it'll take you to your particular state. So I'll go ahead and show you what Alabama's looks like, just so that you know what I'm referring to. So when I clicked on this, it then showed me all of the crops for the entire state, and then shows me these different timelines of when those things are happening. We just thought the other tool might be a little bit easier for everybody, and we wanted to include that in. Then we have the health center. So some of you, these are migrant health centers, National Center for Farm Worker Health, that these are places that get some funding for migrant health. And so you can see in this particular county, they have quality of life services with DeKalb Quality Healthcare. And so there's some information on there. So every single one of you have these. And so I would encourage you to go back and really look and see how, your county, how your different counties compare. Everything will change based on the county that you pick. We suggest that you can also use it as a way to check out the state next to you and see what crops are right on your borders to see where families might be coming and going, because usually they're not bound by county lines or anything, and they can go work in different places. So if you're a supervisor, you can use this to really help plan and see what's going on. And then if you use this with this list that we already have that you can see, you can check out, for example, the Alabama master list that we have. And you can see all of these things that are happening. Over here, we have trailer parks, and we have the GAP inspections, and we've got the work orders that you can see, and the Alabama housing, and the meat and poultry. And you'll be able to see all of these different things and see that this was a payment. They got a subsidy. So you can kind of check out all of these different things that are happening and be able to see how this, what's in your particular area. So there's really no reason that recruiters can say, well, I'm not sure where to go. I'm not sure what to do. And if you use this tool, if you're able to really use the insights report how you need to, you can know what is particularly happening, and then you can plan when you need to be in different places and what's going on. So for example, if, they've got pecans right here, and I don't know what kind of, when that's really happening, what's going on with pecans or what I need to do with it, I can go here and specifically look for pecans and see, let's see if I see it. Maybe I'll start in January. You've got to find where that's going at and then be able to see what goes on and be able to figure out, where are pecans? What's, when is this? So I can see in December, we see that there are some grading, harvesting, and packing of pecans. And if I look in December, that happens. If I look in November, I'm also seeing the same thing. If I'm looking in October, they're still grading, harvesting, and packing. And then there's in September, no longer is it going on. So those October, November, and December are my prime times for that. So take any crop and be able to do that. You can check it out and see. So we hope this tool will really help you. Like we said, everyone has those listings that you can go in and check that out. And just as a reminder, I want to share where all this information was found from. Go to our website, idr-consortium.net. Scroll down, go to Recruiter Resources, and you can check out those ag industry profile, or the agriculture insights reports for each state. One other thing that we have, if you scroll down to the bottom of the website, we have some state maps over here. And so I want to finish with this. So it's really good to understand the big picture of what's happening in agriculture. So we'll check out Alabama, like we were just looking. So we have these maps for everybody that lets you take a look at what your numbers, those farm worker numbers are by county, and where the concentration of them are. So Alabama has seen a decrease in the number of workers between 2017 and 2022, around 24,000 now. But some of these places have seen increases. So anything that is in green, the black number is what it was in 2017. And then the red or the green is the difference in 2022. So some things went down and other things went up. So why is this helpful? If I'm a recruiter of multiple areas, I can see where the probability of where I might find more workers. And sometimes states make the mistakes of working in only Lamar County, for example, when there may be a county close to them that you could actually find more workers, like Tuscaloosa. So you want to make sure that you know what's going on, and then that you're able to really use those resources on the visualization tool to really understand, the insights of what's happening here and really get your area. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you're able to use it. If you use any maps from the Ag Portal, they're always a capital IDRC if there's asking for a password. And this resource is available for all states, and we hope that everyone's really able to take advantage of it and use it to really understand their area.